is read from an experiment that I was involved with about a year and a half ago for a few months with a collective that called itself the Rejection Group. And so what I thought I'd do is, I'll watch the time, but read at least two pieces by the Rejection Group. If there's enough time, I'll read another one. This is, I've got a couple of books here that, one is a journal, actually a very furtive magazine that just came out, called Both. It's published by a young poet in the Bay Area named John Sakis, and so he devoted this issue to the Rejection Group. I've got a whole bunch of copies if anyone would like one. And then this fine press chapbook came out just a few months ago, devoted to the Rejection Group, 5 works by the RG. And there's a preface I thought I'd read as introduction, just to kind of give you a brief overview of the Rejection Group. The Rejection Group was a provisional formation active for approximately 5 months in late 2009 and early 2010. It dissolved after disagreements over authorial credit and ownership made continuation impossible. The group was composed of Christian Bach, Kenneth Goldsmith, Kent Johnson, Casey Silent Mohammed, and Vanessa Place. Among the 20-some texts these writers collectively produced are 9 translations from Arthur Rimbaud's The Illuminations, 2 of which are included here in both. And Patrick talked a bit about Rimbaud, so we'll see if I get to the translation by Rimbaud. All right, here's the first piece by the Rejection Group. Coronita de Rimas, or the A Effect. This is a poem in rhyming couplets and in three parts. Coronita de Rimas, or the A Effect. 1. Our poet is the living avatar of avant-garde populism in American poetry. A bonny bard who gratifies the expectations of both dark, surreal art and cheery comedy. His Amerikansky patter, slangy and tart, tethers his lyric to the central phallic Polski of the general literati. Speed there is, ironic Parolski, dissemblement, parody, romantic insouciance. Such fine motors of rhetoric highlight by contrast the fartings of his emulators, stalled in worship workshops and position staking imitation. What blows your fucking mind is how much packed propulsion is packed like Semtex and glass into each cubic inch. Now, the light of day is almost all due to the sun. Let me try that again. Now, the light of day is almost all due to the sun, but far away in the world it is night. Mr. Ahmad, picking up his own arm, sees the torso of his son Rashad suddenly over there, silly clear across the square. Go, Mr. Ahmad, go. But anyway, to return to our poetic theme. The strange world of our poet's poems is an unstable, violent place, an incurled, changing texture, ever ripping itself apart into new or antique shapes of populist avant-garde art. The theme is wonder. The matter is wonderful. His little fans root at his nipples like poor puppies. 2. In our poet's poems, the thematic core often vanishes in a dust storm, then reappears coughing blood. It is this fraught reappearance of theme within the poem that marks him from Ashbury, who's by now a kind of coin for the cognoscenti from Milan to Brussels to Boulder Junction. Constant mobility for our poet paradoxically serves to function as a gyroscope balance. The drunken wise guy banter turns out to be a Sufi dance that quasi-archaic inverted grammar not only connotes formality but also pushes multiple meanings forward. Here grammar has two yearnings, two inwreathed feelings. What blows your fucking mind is that ambidextrous affluence, the Cirque du Soleil facility for acrobatic magnificence that has made our poet one of the most widely published, praised, and influential presences on the scene today. Now, unfazed by betters, oblivious to keener ears, sometimes we sing just to show we are brighter than other people. When we do, we can't really know what we are singing, and everyone is very glad when we stop. Think. Do the birds sing to show they are brighter? No, they do not. The fireworks began again like wow. Ms. Rana is immolated, and for no apparent good reason, the edited, pixelated Al Jazeera thing on CNN spares us from getting cartoonish with surfeit of liberal indignation, though the crazy loonish cries of her family hint at something rotting in Palestine. But anyway, to return to our poetic theme. Any poet who's spent time reading manuscripts for competitions or screen submissions for prizes, grants, fellowships, or graduate program admissions can recognize like a tattoo or a piercing the stigmata of our poet's young standard devotee. There are legions of little imitators out there. They come advancing on the Capitol like flying radioactive squirrels. 3. Our poet appeals to and serves at least two distinct camps. The amped-up theory fans camp and the dimmer lamps, hot dog, beer swilling, baseball fans camp of poetry. Broadly campy, he has enough regular Greek guyness to appeal to the sorority fraternity crowd in Hot Davis, and enough metatextual reference to be accredited as a postmodernist dubious of scenic mode innocence. One really awesome way that our poet straddles them is through surrealism. The non-sexed body symbolizes mystery, a contradictory eroticism. Female MFAs or male LPNs, the negligee is always the cape of the muse. The boudoir is the chamber of mystery. There is nothing naive or obtuse in the proffering, verily eros in the academic neo-surrealist economy is no mere horniness, but an opening of primal tubes into complex phrenology, an investigation, actually, of the author's headshot in American Poetry Review, PNW, jacket, etc. What blows your fucking mind is how poetry, even while mediated by institutions, becomes a snaking tributary that channels cosmic visions transcending mere sex, form, and prosody. Now, the noise of a gun is due to an explosion, the sudden expansion of a gas as it escapes from the space in which it was confined, latent in a mass of powder. In a pop gun, on the other hand, the gas that is compressed and then expands is really air, which already exists as air, though repressed. Many fall to the ground when a surrealist fires randomly into a crowd of students. Also, Mr. Hassan, bridegroom, vaporizes in his car along with his bride. Prudence keeps us from mentioning her name, but the puff of smoke on the predator's cam can clearly be traced along with our mistake, Dan, to Al-Qaeda in Pakistan. Anyway, to return to our poetic theme, even if the wacky moves of our poet's style can be simulated, the coherent under-discourse is unrepeatable, like bright tile shattering in a mosque. The professions of mystery by our poet in his poems are converted into testimonies of compensation sprung from his ironic loins. Yes, his imitators are little things like errant bats who have lost their sonar end. They fly themselves with a terrible force against each other's bodies. What time did I start, actually?
Quarter after.
Quarter after, okay. I'm going to read just one more then. Okay, this is by the rejection group as well. And this poem is thematically a bit unusual. It's purports to be an account of aliens contacting poets in the American field of poetry, I guess, over eons, over long spans of explain that very well. But anyway, I'll let the poem speak for itself. I actually had this really good explanation for the poem, and then I blanked out. All right, it has two epigraphs. The first is from the movie Contact with Jodie Foster, and the quote is, "You are an interesting species." Alien addressing Jodie Foster through a holograph of a character's dead father toward end of the movie Contact. And the second epigraph is from Banu Kapil, a very fine contemporary poet. Poets High. 1. This is in 5 parts. Poets High. 1. Poets High. The whole gymnasium is encrusted in sweat. The stationary bikes, the bolted rowers, the track that comes back to its start, the dead weights. The apparatus done, hung from like a milk pail bat, the medicine ball, Dickinson rolled from measureless black dross these and lichen and scum for all your encrusted sweat. We've had it with your strutting and grovel, your refusals to wipe the habiliments after use. We've grown weary of your wet, seductive wear, your affected grunts and awful smells, not to mention all the wedding parties in chunks on the passes of the couche. They never quite made it into your experiments, it seems. That is why we are closing the whole area for cleaning and remodeling. Sometimes one just has to start from scratch. Come back in 14 billion years. Don't tell us you can't. Good luck. It won't seem long. 2. Poets' greetings. The whole classroom is encrusted in tears. The maps and the globes, the desks and the gowns, the grade books and the paddle. The dunce hat Lorca wore on his crown, serene and glowing, and the phalangist armoire, the chalkboard where Akhmatova dug sonnets with her nails, clumps these of goop and mold for all your encrusted tears. We've grown hound tired of your infant treading, your little gasps just above the fluid line. We've had it with your teacher pet cries, your conniving praises and calculated slights, not to mention all the children of the Congo waving their little shoulder stumps and puzzled hurt. They never quite made it into your experiments, it seems. That is why we are closing the whole area for suction and purification. Sometimes one just has to start from scratch, come back in 7 million reincarnations. Don't tell us you can't. Good luck. You won't even notice you've been gone. 3. Poets Yo. The whole convention hive is encrusted in gob. The programs and IDs, the PowerPoint remotes, the cash bars and predestined cells, the infinite exhibit of secreted wares extending for miles underground. The car of contents creely careened down the long, formal dark, the bluish enfant Césaire swathed in cotton wrap, glutinous these, and glop and crud for all your encrusted gob. We've burst our coop of hens and hogs with all your clucks and squeals midst your habits of feigning nonchalance. We've sprung a gush in the seabed sump of our sufferance for your googling, and oh so tiptoe want not to mention all the circumcised little girls cowering in those nice post-colonial spots. They never seemed to make it into your experiment. That is why we're boarding up the whole area until it's choked with vines thick as 20 Minotaur thighs. Sometimes one just has to start from scratch, come back when half of all the sentient beings in all the universes have been saved. Don't tell us you can't. Good luck. Just lie back and enjoy it. For poets, howdy. The whole writing retreat is encrusted in cum. The porch and the cane chairs, the four-posted beds and the lamps, the deer on the grounds, the moleskin and the cup, the garret stairs, Ceylon climb trailing his Heidegger cocoon, the oven where Plath baked her glowworm scones, encased these in glaciers of slime for all your encrusted cum. We've lost our patience with your masturbatory elan, your wild and ecstatic bleats. We've had it to the scalp with your self-regarding blab, your recycled tricks and your gossip-fueled ways, not to mention all the people self-tearing their throats in Gaza with gurgling despair. They never quite made it into your experiments, it seems. That is why we are closing the whole area for scrubbing and quarantine. Sometimes one just has to start from scratch, come back after 10,000 great extinctions, not counting the next asteroid. Don't tell us you can't. Good luck. It will seem like a nap. Last section, 5. Poets, wake up. The whole field is encrusted in time. The golden towns and the holograph books, the hovering raiment and the flowering drinks, the wormhole forms and the five-dimensioned bidets. The black chips pressed to your ears look super. It makes us recall that ancient shot of Spicer listening to the incunabulum. Do you recall it now? The point is that quark and lepton are massed anew melodically in your skulls. Look at you here, sheathed in dimensionless edge of wave, forward and back, and dream of category of mind, which is leading edge of aforesaid unfathomable wave. You are quite the catch. One day, we hope you will write of this, puzzling how it is you got back to where you are, though you never really left. Not forgetting vast humor and pain as much the engine of it. We have waited for your tiny spots of light to wink and blink, for the faint beep of your incandescent phones and morphs, for the shy sign of your repentance. We foretold your weeping and yearning, the nub of your esoteric drive, and your hair extended back to glistening points 3 feet behind your heads. We foresaw your new modes of lyric wreathed to the cusp of nameless whatever, we're getting carried away. Forgive us our enthusiasms, but it's true. We mean we saw you poised so patiently for redemption there. Sometimes one just has to start all over again. That is why we are reopening the whole field for repopulation by your obsidian desire. Welcome back after all these eons. Bring the radiating language of your ridiculous, miraculous brains back tomorrow too. Don't tell us you can't. This is probably your last chance. You are an interesting species. Chase the horned horse with all of your might into the sun.